In a region long overshadowed by infrastructural neglect and harsh terrain, something remarkable is happening. Burkina Faso, a landlocked West African nation, is making global headlines, not for conflict or poverty, but for construction, not the type of construction funded by billion-dollar foreign loans or directed by multinationals. No, this is something different, something homegrown, revolutionary, and deeply rooted in the spirit of independence. At the center of this national renaissance is President Ibrahim Traoré, a young and fearless military leader who rose to power not just with force, but with a vision of self-reliance, African innovation, and reclaiming sovereignty over development. One of the most transformative parts of his vision is the sweeping rollout of a low-cost, labor-intensive, and highly durable road construction method known as the Donou technique. What sets this apart isn't just its ingenuity, it's how it aligns with Traoré's ideological commitment to building an independent Burkina Faso in the face of rising fuel costs, declining international aid, and the collapse of many infrastructure plans. Traoré's government asked a bold question: what if we could build roads using our own hands, our own soil, and our own people? The answer came from an unlikely place: Japan's rural engineering archives and field work done decades ago in Africa. Now, through the implementation of this earthbag technique, Burkina Faso is paving thousands of kilometers of roads using locally sourced materials, community labor, and technology that costs a fraction of traditional asphalt construction. It is not merely a cost-saving tactic, it is a political statement, a job creator, and a lifeline to disconnected communities. Burkina Faso has long suffered from chronic infrastructure problems. Despite covering over 270,000 square kilometers, less than 4,000 kilometers of its roads were paved as of 2022. During the rainy season, entire villages become isolated. Farmers can't bring produce to market, children are unable to attend school, and health emergencies turn fatal simply because ambulances can't reach remote areas. Rural isolation has also been a major factor in the country's vulnerability to armed groups, who exploit the void left by the state. In short, poor roads equal poor security, poor economy, and poor public services. Traditional road building methods are expensive, require asphalt and heavy machinery, and often depend on foreign contractors. Previous governments sought funding from the World Bank, the IMF, or bilateral partners, but these projects were slow-moving and often subject to corruption or geopolitical delays. Meanwhile, the people of Burkina Faso waited and suffered. In remote provinces like Sahel, ESD, and Cascades, roads are nothing more than dirt tracks. During the dry season, they are dusty, uneven, and dangerous. During the rains, they turn into impassable rivers of mud. For years, this situation has hindered the country's development. Enter the Donou Technica method, first developed and promoted by the Japanese International Cooperation Agency, named after the Japanese word Donou, meaning soil bag. The method involves compacting earth into small, synthetic or jute bags. These are then laid side by side, like bricks, to form durable roadbeds. Once packed and leveled, they are covered with gravel and sealed to protect from water damage. The resulting roads are not only surprisingly strong, but also highly adaptable to the environment, allowing for proper drainage and minimal erosion. What makes this method groundbreaking for countries like Burkina Faso is its simplicity. It requires no advanced machinery, no imported chemicals, and no massive power grids. All it takes is soil, bags, water, and human labor. And that's exactly what Traoré's administration needed, a method that empowers local communities, creates jobs, and builds infrastructure without debt. The president's technical advisors studied pilot projects in Tanzania, Ethiopia, and Ghana, where similar techniques had been tested with JICAS support. They invited Japanese engineers for consultation, but committed to executing the projects with Burkina manpower. For President Ibrahim Traoré, the decision to adopt the Donou method was not just pragmatic, it was symbolic. In speech after speech, he emphasized the need for Burkina Faso to take control of its own development, to end the cycle of dependency, and to restore dignity to its people. "We must not wait for help that may never come," he told a crowd of workers at the launch of a pilot road project outside Ouagadougou. "We must use what we have, build with our hands, and walk the roads of our own future." Under his directive, the Ministry of Infrastructure launched an ambitious campaign to build over 5,000 kilometers of road using the Donou method within 5 years. The initial pilot began with a 3-kilometer stretch in the Boukaldo-Mahoun region, linking small villages to the nearest health clinic. The results were astounding. What would have cost nearly 100 million CFA francs using traditional asphalt techniques was completed for under 40 million. More importantly, over 150 local youth were trained and employed in the project, gaining skills they could replicate elsewhere. Women's cooperatives were also engaged to produce and deliver soil bags, further localizing the supply chain. To understand just how revolutionary this method is, one must appreciate its mechanics. First, soil is collected from nearby sites and mixed with a small amount of water to create a dense, moldable texture. Workers then fill durable synthetic or natural fiber bags with the compacted earth. These bags are then arranged in staggered rows along the path of the road. Using manual compaction tools, workers compress the bags into a flat, unified surface. Once the roadbed is formed, gravel or stone is layered on top, providing additional durability and weather resistance. The beauty of the system lies in its adaptability. The design allows for lateral drainage, reducing flood damage during the rainy season. The bags are cheap to manufacture locally or import in bulk if needed. The labor intensity of the process provides job opportunities for thousands of rural youth, especially those unemployed or displaced by conflict. In fact, in several provinces, young people who previously joined armed militias have now been reintegrated into civilian life by joining road construction brigades. This has not only given them income, but a renewed sense of purpose and inclusion. The success of the pilot phase, President Traoré ordered the immediate scale-up of the program. The plan is to build 5,000 kilometers of road, not only to connect villages, but to build strategic corridors that link agricultural zones, military posts, schools, and hospitals. The government is also integrating the road-building program into its wider security strategy. Regions previously cut off by deteriorated roads are now reachable by the military and humanitarian organizations alike. The Ministry of Infrastructure has trained over 3,000 local engineers and laborers in the Donou technique, with support from a small team of Japanese advisors. Training centers have been established in Ouagadougou, Dodougou, and Koudougou, where youth learn both the manual craft and the leadership skills needed to supervise road projects in their home villages. The government's estimate is that over 200,000 jobs will be created directly or indirectly through the program within 5 years, far exceeding the employment impact of any prior infrastructure project in Burkina Faso's modern history. In the sun-scorched village of Tito, located in the volatile northern region of Burkina Faso, People once measured time not in days, but in seasons, waiting endlessly for access to markets, medicine, or even news from the capital. The village was known as one of the most remote and conflict-affected areas of the country, where attacks by armed groups had become disturbingly common. Yet today, something is changing. For the first time in over a decade, a reliable road links Titao to the district capital. It may not look like much at first glance: simple, gravel-topped track built from rows of compacted soil bags, but for residents, it is nothing short of a miracle. Eldebuhema Sabadogo, a respected community leader, describes the transformation with emotion in his voice. "We were forgotten," he says. "Even the soldiers didn't come here anymore." Then one day, young people from our village, trained by the government, came with bags, gravel, and picks. In 2 weeks, we had a road. Not just any road, our road. The construction brigade included former combatants who had surrendered their weapons to participate in reconstruction programs under President Traoré's reconciliation initiative. The result was not just a path through the wilderness, but a path toward healing and unity. In the Est region, where maternal mortality rates were among the highest in the country due to inaccessible clinics, the impact of the Donou Road initiative has been dramatic. At the Manga Health Post, midwife Kadia Ouadrago notes that the number of women able to reach the clinic in time for childbirth has doubled. "The old road would flood every rainy season," she recalls. "We would have to carry women on wooden stretchers through mud and bushes. Now ambulances can reach us. Babies are being born on solid ground." These stories are not isolated. Across provinces like Gonzogu, Konadugu, and Yaga, similar voices echo the same message. The Donou Road method is not just building infrastructure, it's rebuilding trust between citizens and the state. In a country battered by coups, terrorism, and economic hardship, people are beginning to feel that the government is not just governing from the capital, it's walking beside them, literally paving the way. Burkina Faso's economy has long been constrained by geography and colonial legacy. Being landlocked, every shipment of goods that enters or leaves the country must travel hundreds of kilometers by roads that until recently were impassable. For much of the year, the Donou method is changing that equation, one village at a time. In the agriculture sector, the transformation is staggering. In Koudougou, known for cotton and mango farming, farmers once lost up to 30% of their produce due to spoilage, able to transport it to market before it perished. Now, with newly accessible feeder roads,